I have a question for you. Are you an artist? Did you hesitate before thinking of an answer? Did you ever second guess yourself? Have you ever experienced thinking that you might not be good enough, that you might not be worthy? Have you ever felt a certain kind of fear that people might think you're a fraud or they might discover that you are just pretending? In this video, let's talk about 5 things you need to know about imposter syndrome. My name is Nicco Valenzuela. I am a landscape photographer and I make art. And I also write about art. And just so you know, it took me about 5 takes with 5 minutes in between to say that. Imposter syndrome happens to everyone. It happens to photographers, filmmakers, painters, designers, singers, models, actors, everyone. Imposter syndrome is that feeling or that internal experience of thinking that you might not be good enough. It's that fear that you experience before putting your work out there. It's that fear you experience before you take or even pitch for a new project or a new job. And if you are a creative and you're watching this, if I ask you if you've experienced that, I'm pretty sure the answer is yes. And later on, you'll find out why I'm happy that you're actually experiencing it. Don't worry, I'm rooting for you. The first thing you need to know about imposter syndrome, well, I've actually already said it. It happens to everyone. And more than that, it hits everyone, everywhere, and anywhere. It can happen while you're working on something. It can happen before you present your work. It can happen before you pitch for a new project. It can even happen while you're in bed, or you're making coffee, you're having breakfast. Heck, it can happen while you're taking a dump. It hits you everywhere and anywhere. It also hits aspects of your creativity in the same way. It hits you everywhere and anywhere. Sometimes it will make you second guess how good you are at what you do, even if you've done it so many times already. Sometimes it's gonna make you anxious about a possible mistake you might have done. Sometimes it's rational, sometimes it's not. Most of the time, imposter syndrome makes you feel worried about the weak points in what you do. You should be able to identify your weaknesses and your strengths, but even then, sometimes it will actually make you worry about the things that you are already confident in. It will make you worry about the things that you might actually specialize in, and it will make you second guess the quality of your work. And sometimes it can even go as far as just giving you a hint of fear that people will simply just not like your work. Or sometimes it will just make you worry that people might not like you. Now, if you're watching this video and you've made it this far, please do finish the video because I'm sure that what I will say next will actually help you. Now, my second point is perhaps the most important one. Feeling or experiencing imposter syndrome is totally normal. In fact, it makes you human. You see, imposter syndrome stems from a lot of things that are part of human nature. It stems from a lot of things that are also part of your nature as a creative and your artistry. It stems ultimately from your curiosity and your desire to be better. Most of the people I've talked to about imposter syndrome and their own experiences, they feel imposter syndrome when they see how good other people's work are. Usually these are people who actually inspire them, but they can't help but feel imposter syndrome, and again, it's normal. You see, when artists see very good work from other people, they get a good mix of very different feelings. One feeling would of course be awe or admiration for that piece of work or for that artist. Most of the time, it is also accompanied by a sense of being inspired. You're going to be inspired by that piece of work or by that artist to strive better. But at the same time, you can't help but feel a bit of envy, and that's totally normal. You feel that envy perhaps because you're comparing yourself to that person, and that's totally normal. What matters most is how you act on it and what you do about it. Do you get the energy from your envy, or do you get the energy from the inspiration and your desire to be a better artist? Now, imposter syndrome can also stem from that fear that people might not like your work. In fact, sometimes they might not even like you personally. And this is how imposter syndrome actually teaches you a very important reality. You can't please everyone. Not everyone is gonna like your work. No matter how good you can get, there's always gonna be someone who is looking for something to say about your work. Now, sometimes they mean well, and sometimes they don't. We have to acknowledge that there are people who mean well with their criticism, and you can actually differentiate that from the people who are just out there to troll. But nonetheless, whatever their intentions are, you cannot please everyone. This is because people have different tastes. They have different preferences. They've lived different lives that will lead them towards different opinions. It's important to know and identify the audience for whom you are making your art, because if you expect everyone who sees your work to like it, then more often than not, you will be disappointed. There are so many different styles in each kind of art form, and you can't expect everyone to like all of them. At the same time, no one has the right to say that this kind of work is better than this kind of work. You know, it's like telling people that rock is better than hip-hop, or rock is better than classical music, or vice versa. The reality is there are different kinds of art and different approaches to those kinds of art, and everyone is entitled to liking whatever they want to like. You as an artist, your goal is not the quantity of people who connect with your work. It's the quality of the connection of people to your work. Now, earlier I said that I am actually happy if your answer is yes to the question if you experience imposter syndrome. If you do, I am happy for you. This simply means that you are healthy as an artist. And I am happy that you experience imposter syndrome because it can be healthy for you. You see, imposter syndrome, it's painful, and it is actually very much like pain. A lot of us are afraid of getting hurt, but from a medical standpoint, pain actually helps you identify where things are going wrong. Can you imagine if we never felt pain? We might already be harming ourselves and we wouldn't know because we can't feel the pain. We don't get any warning. The reason why imposter syndrome can be healthy is because it can actually warn us from things wherein there actually might be something wrong, or it can help us identify things wherein we might make mistakes. And when we are given a warning, we tend to avoid that mistake or avoid that failure. That experience of second guessing yourself will actually lead you and urge you to double check some things, which will in turn help you avoid making mistakes or experiencing failure. Now, a lot of people experience imposter syndrome when they see imperfections in their work. And this can either be a good thing or a bad thing. Sometimes it urges you to refine your work and make it better. But sometimes if you're aiming too much for perfection to the point wherein it's unrealistic, it becomes a prison for you. This is when a lot of people let imposter syndrome make them throw away years worth of work because of a single flaw. This is when imposter syndrome gets unhealthy for people and it causes them to give up. The last point you need to know is that it's okay to aim for perfection, and in fact you should strive for it, but you should never let imperfection stop you. You see, the biggest achievement you can ever get as an artist is not one single piece of work. It's the progress. It's your journey from being this good to this good. Even if every step of the way is crucial, and even if every piece of work you make within that is crucial, you should never forget to trust the process. As they say, Rome wasn't built in a day, and I'm pretty sure that most of the best artists have had their struggles. Find comfort in the fact that that struggle is gonna make you stronger, it's gonna make you better. Find comfort in the fact that imposter syndrome is actually healthy for you, just as long as you don't let it keep you down. And there we go. I hope those things will somehow help you in your journey as a creative. Whether you're a beginner or already a master, I'm pretty sure you experience imposter syndrome, but I hope that the things I said in this video will remind you of the bigger thing that you should enjoy, and it will remind you of why you are an artist, no matter what kind of artist you are. Now, if you have any reactions, any questions or comments, of course you can leave them down below in the comment section. And if you've gotten this far into the video, thank you for watching. Of course, my name is Nicco Valenzuela. I am a landscape photographer, and this channel mostly talks about landscape photography and the gear that I use. But from time to time, I want to put in a few motivational videos here. If you're into any of that, then you might want to consider pressing that subscribe button and that notification bell, just so YouTube gives you a reminder. In any case, thank you for watching.